Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak.
Here comes the man, the big belly man. Here comes the man, the big belly man. Here comes the man, the big belly man. Here comes the man, the big belly man.
Make way, 'cause here comes the big belly nigga. On my way up with my finger on the trigger. Just for protection, 'cause niggas be flexing to take you off the map and lay you for a nap. But I ain't the one to fall short like a buster. My dick's in your mouth, so I guess you a sucker. Niggas always tell me, damn, you can throw teeth when it come to raps. I guess I'm a OG, 'cause I am original, known as a criminal. If I was an Indian, I would be a Seminole. But I'm black, yes, I'm black, nigga, I'm an African. When I bust a rhyme, you can't wait to hear me rap again.
Yo, Kareem Ali TV, man. This is the Are You Serious podcast where we discuss various topics of hip-hop culture on the show. And I got my man today, just me and him, the co-host Slankster Hughes, Slick Fit Low, the poetry champion of the world. How you doing, brother?
All those people, peace. Yes, we got.
Vic, do you
some
remember in the
things
early
to discuss.
90s when we used to wear the hats and it still had the tag on it?
Right.
You remember that? That was the style back then. So I thought I'd bring it back.
The starter caps, and you put it backwards, and then
Yeah, started to
snap
put
your
it backwards.
snapback,
You know,
snap.
snapbacks, and then snapbacks went out for fitteds, and the snapbacks
Right.
came back out of nowhere. First
Out of
snapbacks
nowhere.
were whack.
It's like everybody threw all their snapbacks out. It's like, what do you mean to tell me I could have just hung on to my 80s snapbacks and
Right.
brought them back? Like,
It'd be like one whack rapper do it, and then everybody start to I mean, my goodness, the power of this thing. The reason I'm wearing this hat today, not because of the freedom and you did the Kareem Ali freedom. I don't do that anymore. I'm about entertainment and debauchery now. Listen, the reason I'm going back to 92 is because that's around the time period, 92, 93 is what we're going to be talking about today. There is a claim going around on the internet, or it was, that Biggie took his style from a guy named Notorious B.I.G, Big Daddy. And the reason is because he had a song that was passed around that had the Juicy sample in it from Mtumbe. And people were saying that not only did Biggie take the song, but he took the flow of this person. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a Mississippi rapper. Do you recall? He's from the SIP.
yeah,
He's from the
Mississippi.
SIP. You know what I'm saying?
There aren't many of those. Yeah,
Not many of them that are quality.
basically just David Banner, but
Right.
but yeah, he's from Mississippi.
I think Brandy Norwood is from the SIP, and they moved to California.
Hmm.
I've heard that. I can't remember. I got to look into it. I think Brandy's from the SIP. They don't seem like it at this point. They're so far removed. You know, Theo was like 35 years ago. So to think about this guy, man. I mean, so in the terms of the industry, how it kind of works, it seems like they pass songs around. People submit demos. They pass songs around until they get the right artist to fit it. So it may be true that Puffy or the people that collect these songs may have heard this sampled it, and let Biggie rhyme and put his words and verse to it. Because it's like Joe Budden's "The Pump Me Up" song. I've heard that song was passed around the industry, and Jay-Z even passed on it. And Joe Budden's decided to do it. Sometimes songs are a hit, but they're only a hit for the right artist. So although it could be possible that they took that song and decided to doctor it up, make a more polished version of it, and let the Notorious B.I.G, not the Notorious B.I.G, it is interesting that their names are the same, rock over it. But the flow, even though the flow is Biggie-like, Biggie was rhyming like that in like 89. You know me, the B.I.G, competition ripper ever since
Right.
13. I mean, that was his style. And if you think about the style of someone like Biggie is actually on the foundational part of it. It's kind of basic because he's just being percussive and rhyming over the track, following the drums in the perfect way and not putting the word out of place. So that style may have been prevalent at that time if you just start rhyming, but Biggie found a way to advance it to be more like a trumpet player, a jazz musician in a sense, you know what I'm saying? You know, in the way he would let his words swing, his cadence swing throughout the beat. So that's a style that's, I think, is uniquely Biggie in a sense, but if you just start rhyming like that, if you just start teaching somebody how to rap, you know, they may sound a little bit like that. They ride the beat the way you're technically supposed to ride the beat, but I don't think Biggie stole this at all. Biggie's one of the greatest of all time, and that can't be debated whether they took the idea for the song or not. The industry is a nasty place. So sorry to Notorious B.I.G, who's like Chub Rock light, but Biggie, you know, Biggie is the legendary guy. What do you think, Slingsy?
I'm kind of one and a half minds about this. It's like on one end, the similarities in the name and the sample, and even like the fact that they were, you know, kind of look similar is really, really eyebrow raising. Like, oh, what a coincidence! But at the same time, you know, Biggie was, you know, known as Biggie, you know, way before his association with Puff and Bad Boy, and in those old battle videos and stuff, he's spelling out Biggie. You know, he was Biggie already.
Right.
And so by all accounts, he didn't like the Juicy sample and song idea. He was like, this beat is not, you know, rough and rugged enough for what I really want to do. It wasn't until, you know, it became a hit single that he was like, okay, I see.
But they may have presented it to him, though. They may have presented it to him, this idea. I think that's highly possible.
I think that I think absolutely this song came across Puff's desk. And so what does Diddy do? He's not a producer. He samples other people's things, gets people to engineer it, and then he takes the song and makes it another song.
Maybe he's a producer, but not a beat maker. I mean, I guess the
exactly.
language could be, he choreographs, arranges.
Yeah, like all of those Bad Boy songs that were hits and bangers. It was, you know, Diddy just like, yo, let's sample this R&B track, or let's sample this thing. Like, none of it was like, you know, wasn't even an attempt to make it sound like it was something else. So that was really their style and their formula. So I think he heard this song. Somebody was like, check this out. And he's like, yo, this would be perfect for that dude. Biggie did I just signed.
Right.
And you know, the rest is history. I don't even think Biggie probably ever heard the other song.
He might not have.
Yeah, I doubt it. Like, I think Puff heard this Notorious B.I.G song, had somebody produce the Juicy beat, and then brought the idea to Biggie after the fact. And Biggie probably never even heard the source material at all. And I think even more, like, Biggie was already Biggie. I think he didn't become Notorious B.I.G until they start making and putting out the first album. So I think Puff may have even been like, "Yo, you should go by the Notorious B.I.G."
You think he ripped the name? You think Puff?
And I think Puff ripped the name.
That was my next question.
Like, yo, this would be a great idea for you to go by. And Biggie's like, yo, that shit is hard. And again, the rest is history. I don't think Biggie ever even knew about the existence of B.I.G.
So is this fair or foul? Is it fair or is
I think it's just par for the course of what Puffy was and still is, you know, a savvy biter. You know what I mean? Like, I think he took the song idea, he even took the name and the moniker and was like, yo, both of these are good ideas for you. And Biggie was like, yeah, I'm with it. Let's get busy. But because, you know, no, Biggie's style and his skill and even the moniker of Biggie was already a thing, as we see from those early videos of him rapping on the corner. So, you know, and then when you look at the comparison of, you know, skill level between the two, like, it's not a comparison at all. Like, if anything, he might be a somewhat better version of a Buffy, you know what I mean? But he's of a Buffy from the Fat Boys, you know what I mean? Like, like maybe a poor man's Gorilla Black.
I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, Sarah Michelle Gellar got balls.
Right, yeah, he had some decent patterns and stuff in there for the time period.
Okay, it
was like
it sounded like 1990 rhyme. It
didn't sound advanced like Biggie sound at the time. And I think
Biggie,
that
Heavy D, and Chubb Rock had a special needs Down syndrome baby. It would have sounded like this guy.
Right, he even said, it's not the overweight lover or something like that. And then,
the Big Belly Bandit.
The Chubb Rock comparison is interesting too. Like, he kind of had the rhyme style similar like that. But I
It's
think,
the
you
way
know,
people kind of rolled the cadence back then.
right.
But Chubb Rock, don't
Just,
get it wrong, Chubb Rock could rap. Chubb Rock was sounding
oh
nice.
yeah, Chubb Rock was, you know, very appropriately dope for his time.
Right.
And like, but you know, I think people just because they see a fat, dark skinned guy on the cover, like it makes just a automatic, the name, and like
Right.
Biggie just copied his whole style. They're both fat and black and have that name. But style wise and skill wise, he's nowhere near Biggie.
Nowhere near Biggie. That's not even a question. That's been obvious. To insinuate that Biggie somehow had to take that or had someone write for him or based his style off of this guy, that's the part that's ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous that they could have indeed jacked the song, because that happens.
He's like a less technically advanced Eric Sherman is the best. You know what I mean?
you're just insulting asshole when it comes to hip hop, you snob.
I mean, when I hear it, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be like he's going in, but it's like, no, he made a good song, but it's not.
Yeah, it was solid. It sounds like
when you heard Biggie, you heard a style and a cadence and a writing level that immediately pulled you in. When you heard this, you heard like, oh, I might bob my head to this in the club in 1990.
Sounds like somebody that didn't even finish the record. Like they were just working on it. It was in its developmental stages, wasn't all the way mixed.
Yeah, it almost sounded like a scratch draft,
right?
Even though it was something that got
this is what I'm gonna do, and to see how I can make.
And it was essentially a demo because they were shopping it for distribution, and they were dropping like the white label of it in stores and stuff around the country. Like it was a test press basically.
It makes you not even, as an artist, not even want to send your stuff anywhere, like because it could be ripped off.
You said somebody in the comments is like, "This is like finding out Santa Claus ain't real." I'm like, a lot of industry stuff is to quote the Boondocks, it's like finding out you like going to heaven and finding God smoking crack. You know what I mean? It's like, what's behind the curtain is a lot less pleasing and romanticized as what you see in front of the curtain when it comes to the industry shadiness and politics. That part is for sure.
I wonder what a Notorious B1 is now.
He posted a comment in the comment section of the video.
What did he say?
He posted, or maybe it was somebody posting his statement about the track, but he put like basically, my name is such and such. I went by Notorious B1. This is a track I made back in such and such, part of this album from the Mississippi called the Mississippi such and such. And this was out in stores, and we were shopping it for distribution. And then you could imagine my surprise when people hit me up such and such time later and saying I saw your video on TV, because people saw Juicy and thought it was him. Like if they knew the song, like, yo, I saw your video. Like, we didn't do a video. It's like, and you find out like, wow, somebody just took my whole song idea. So I don't even think he's necessarily blaming Biggie. He's just saying that it's obvious that someone from that label took my song idea, and the world before I leave this earth, I just want the world to know the truth of that, I made this song.
And I as an artist, I understand that. I get that, because you want people to know that this is my intellectual property. This came from me, from my spirit, filtrated through my expression. And
it happens all the time.
I feel like, it feels like you've been raped or something like that.
It happens all the time, man. These crackers, like,
yeah,
in all of the entertainment industries and all of the things across the board, what they do is they take creative capital and they commodify it to make capital, because they don't have skills and talents of their own. You know what I mean? Like they can become good at mimicry and become really good at copying other people's culture and art, but for the most part, they take it and they sell it. And there's a really good friend of mine and a poet on the scene. Nationally, like a very prominent national poet who started off as an MC, and then he was writing screenplays, and he got put off to writing screenplays for like 2 decades because he sent in a script for a superhero movie to a major, Hollywood, script development agency, and not knowing the protocols and stuff, he emailed the whole thing, and later on people let him know like, you can't do that, because they will just take you, if it's not copywritten, they will take your whole thing and you'll never know. Flash forward a year later, he goes to see the first X-Men movie. It came out on Fox Studios. He goes to see the first X-Men movie. He said he was sitting in the movie theater in tears because he's sitting there watching his script on the screen.
Oh man.
It was like, it broke him. He was just like, he didn't write another screenplay. He went into poetry. He didn't write another screenplay for like 2 decades.
That's like $20 million lost.
It's crazy. And so I mean, they do it all the time. Like if you let them get a wind of your genius without the proper protection legally, they're like, ooh,
They're like
right for the
insurance
ticket.
companies. They'll find a way not to pay you if they can.
Right, right.
They'll find a way to screw you. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah.
But that's all I really have to say about this, Slank. So you got any other thoughts?
Man, I tell you what, it does remind me too of is some really inside baseball about myself that a lot of people don't know is that even the like a lot of times, you know, artists will both come up with similar monikers at the same time, and it becomes like a, you know, who's going to utilize it first. Like the name Slangston Hughes, originally I battled a dude on an internet MC board over that name because we were both using it as like a name or like a title for something on the internet in the, you know, in the early 2000s, you know, these internet rap boards.
Wonder who won.
And so, but the funny thing is he still uses it as a rapper. Like there's a New Orleans MC who also goes by Slangston Hughes, and so that has its origins, ironically, you know, in a rap board where like we both was like, you know, this is my name type of thing. So, and even I remember a time when there was a friendly duel between Droopy the Broke Baller, who also went by Aquaman and the Water Element thing when Fifth L started, and then MC Water, and they had like a friendly internet board back and forth about who's the real water bender.
Who was more formless or shapeless? Like
it was like, you know, Aquaman versus
Submariner.
Submariner, or what's the DC Aquaman?
It's Aquaman.
Namor.
Oh,
The Marvel Aquaman. Namor versus Aquaman. Right, Aquaman is DC. Namor is Marvel. So it's like Namor versus Aquaman type of thing. Right. Sometimes there's these creative clashings that happen. You know,
there are other people with the name Kareem Ali. My name doesn't just come up. I don't just come up when you type that name in. There are other people. I remember there was a rapper or a singer. It was a singer in Atlanta named Kareem Ali. He was a pretty boy, so he got a lot of attention. I don't know if he had to. We did two different things, and there's some other people, but Kareem Ali just happens to be my actual name.
Right.
So I decided to go with that. I thought about times, should I copyright it as a stage name, or should I just leave it be? Because I don't want to change it. There's even someone named Akeem Ali. That's an artist, an MC. He's pretty dope too. So it happens. It definitely happens. But yeah, I mean, I would be mortified if someone was to steal my material or something I came up with and I wasn't paid or compensated for it. Sometimes it's not even really about the money. It's the recognition of that you did this. This came, it's your own form of self-expression. It came through your spirit.
Right. I mean, it's like something like a J. Cole song comes out, drama. Like
yeah, right.
Drama.
I mean, it happens a lot, though. I mean, I think that they have A&Rs and people that scour the internet to look for ideas, to look for music that people have, to see if they can find something that could potentially be a hit, and they redo it. I think it happens all the time. Exactly. I even had a few music videos that I've done that I've seen some industry artists just damn near jack the idea. I'm not going to tell you who, and I'm not going to tell you which videos. I mean, I see local people taking ideas from my videos all the time, especially when I was doing the elaborate, more film cinematography type of videos that had these elaborate stories and complex narratives to it. I've seen some people attempt to do that. They just they weren't able to do it as well because they just don't have my mind. But I've actually seen visuals of a couple artists that are industry artists that stole the idea that I have for some of my songs and twisted it around, and the way that I filmed the video. There's certain scenes that are almost identical. And so it does happen. I'm not saying it in an arrogant way, like I'm all that, or like I'm someone to be stolen from, but I think they do it, you know?
I mean, it happens in everything from music to cookbooks, you know what I mean? Like somebody see a concept that they can commodify and sell.
Even this very podcast, there's another podcast called Are You Serious?
This very podcast has been jacked.
Even the idea for this podcast, I told to someone about 6 months before I started it, because I was going to do it in their venue before I decided to do an online type of version. This is a little bit before COVID hit, and they took the idea and they have hip hop debates as well. So I found that interesting.
Man, it's even some Bammers out here recently that stole the idea from the youth poetry open mic you was doing, the salt, pepper, ketchup. I see a flyer on Instagram for salt, pepper, ketchup. I'm like, we're not doing salt, pepper, ketchup right now. So there's another salt, pepper, ketchup. Like, I get it. It's a Baltimore cultural norm, but it's like, come on, you thought to do an open mic called salt, pepper, ketchup? Like,
it's some things you want to be like, that's just a coincidence. It can't be. But when you start to think about it, like, no, it's not. You did that. You're a thief. You stole it, and not in the Robin Hood kind of way. I mean, you just take shit. Kleptomaniac ass. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for this, man. Kareem Ali TV, my man Slankster Hughes. Slankster, are you serious, man?
Very serious.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood, looking out through the window, I'm looking out over my